kickoff every year to start the high school football season.
I think Glassboro are ready for it, Mike. As a matter of fact, they have that tandem of Gordon Lockbaum and Sean Redmond receiving the opening kickoff. Very unusual to see a football team with its two outstanding backs on the kickoff receiving team, but John Avini putting them right in there.
Number 21, Tyrone Furlow, will kick the ball off for Edgewood. And as Bob mentioned, Redmond on the right side and Lockbaum on the left, ready to receive the kickoff. Before that happens, though, interestingly, Greg Water is going to gather his troops around him out on the field and give them that final bit of instructions before this season starts. But we haven't seen that happen very often.
Of course, a very interesting situation at Edgewood High School this year, Mike. Edgewood coming off what on paper was an outstanding 6-2-1 football season last year. Unfortunately for the Eagles, it goes in the book as a 0-9 season. I think you alluded to that at the top of the show, Mike. Long after the football season ended last year, it was determined that one of the reserve tight ends on the Edgewood football team was ineligible because of being in high school for 5 years. He had been in a private school as a freshman, and it caused a great deal of confusion. Edgewood called it to the attention of the NJSIAA, and it was ruled that Edgewood would have to forfeit all 9 of its football games. And I know Greg Walder, the head coach of Edgewood, a native of Paulsboro, a graduate of St. James High School, very disturbed about the way that was handled, Mike. He felt that the injustice done to the young man even overweighed the injustice to his football team. But I think they feel they have something to prove this year.
And the interesting thing, Bob, that ruling not coming until about April of the year. Very few people even aware of it until they read the press guides this season getting ready for the football campaign, 1983. And you're right, Water has gone on record of talking about what it did to the really fine young man that was involved, and it was simply a counseling decision made during his freshman year. And the rule clearly states, no question about it, that once you enter high school, you have 4 years from that date to compete, and that's the way the ruling was determined. But I think they still think of it as a great year, 6-2-1, and if anything, it might add to the impetus for this, what it really appears to be a veteran club, to do even better this season.
You know, when I was talking to John Avini before the game, too, Mike, I mentioned the track team. That's precisely what this Edgewood team is. They might be one of the quickest high school football teams around here in a long, long time. However, they are missing tonight probably their outstanding player, certainly their team leader, Keith Bullock. Keith is one of the Bullock twins. Keith, number 6, Kevin, number 9. Kevin will be playing, but Keith Bullock, nose guard, and the starting halfback, a returning all Group 4 performer out with a sprained ankle suffered in the Collingswood preseason scrimmage. And Mike, interestingly, a lot of coaches, assistant coaches from some major universities here tonight at Glassboro to look at Keith Bullock. They're not going to see him.
There are going to be a lot of head football coaches from the college ranks around all year long at a lot of games. We'll talk about exactly why a little later.
No change, Mike, is the reason, no down marker is the reason that they had the delay for the start of the game. They do now, though.
All right, Furlow ready now to kick it off. Ball is ready, and great speed for Edgewood, ready to come down on the special team assignment. And they've got some great players at the other end, as we mentioned, Redmond and Lockbaum, and nothing they'd like more than to get a tremendous return going to start the Bulldogs in the right direction in the Olympic Conference football this season. 25th renewal, Bob, of this matchup, and it could, in fact, be the last time they meet. Glassboro possibly going into the Tri-County next year, still not decided, but that's the anticipation. If that happens, this will be the final game between Edgewood and Glassboro.
There have been some good ones. We've expected some high-scoring games in recent years. They've been low-scoring defensive games. Again tonight, we look for a lot of points.
George Reeves, tonight's referee, has given him the signal. Furlow's kick is short. Darrell Fowler with an excellent return, and Fowler, a reserve halfback, gets the ball back to the Glassboro 49. They'll start their first series from there.
The kick short, and perhaps by design with Redmond and Lockbaum deep, but the up man, Darrell Fowler, a senior reserve halfback, who really did a job bringing it to the 49-yard line. Excellent starting position for this potentially high-powered Bulldog attack.
Lee Frank, junior quarterback, will have them in an I formation. Redmond is the fullback position. Lockbaum at the tailback. At the wingback, Pat Adams, and we've got our first whistle of the night. See just what the problem is. They're looking to the sideline, and apparently once the
the whistle came from the press box,
that's
because
the
there's something wrong with the time clock, apparently.
It shows 11:50, and that's about how much time ran off during the kick. Now, we've been here for a Glassboro
they need 5 more seconds on the clock. It was just hollered down from the timer in the press box. So we have run off 5 seconds, not 10 as the clock shows.
As we said, we were here for a Glassboro State College game earlier this year. They had some problems with the clock that night, and we were without it most of the evening. Again, we'll see 2 tight ends from Glassboro in their first series here with an I formation behind Frank. We've got a 5-4 alignment for Edgewood. Lockbaum's going to test the left side and get a few, and he'll do that mostly on his own, but you'll see that happen all year long. This is not only a player with great moves, but he's got a lot of good speed, and that really isn't expected when you see his size. He's got a lot of weight, and you can move downfield.
Oh, Lockbaum made a 4-yard gain out of what should have been no gain because Kevin Bullock had him pinned right about the 49-yard line. Lockbaum with a fine inside move made a 4-yard pickup out of it.
From the Edgewood 47. Now, Lockbaum moves over to a wing. Adams comes in motion. They'll go with Redmond. He'll try the right side, and Kevin Bullock again will make the tackle. There'll be maybe a yard gain on it. We'll call it a 3rd and 5. Credit Redmond with 1 on his first carry.
A little surprised, Mike. The first 2 plays away from the nose guard. Keith Bullock, we talked about him being out with his sprained ankle, is, of course, a two-way performer, plays nose guard, and is considered a better defensive player than an offensive player. So there's backup people in the middle, but Glassboro has not run that way yet.
And you'll take a look at the weight differentiation. Bill Stewart, the center for Glassboro, 240, and Jim Gaunt starting for Edgewood in that spot, 170 pounds. Redmond looking for the first down. Will be very close to it. They'll wait, spot the football, take a look at the chains. The tackle made this time by number 8, Tony Robinson, coming up from a cornerback position for Edgewood. It will be 4th down. They're a yard shy.
So an early decision for John Avini at the 42, but I'm sure that John has a lot of confidence in this offense and feels that either Redmond or Lockbaum can get him the yard. So they'll take a shot at it. Early gamble with the scoreboard clock not working now, Mike.
In the middle, Stewart at center, Castillo and Mazzio the guards, Joyce and McNeil the tackles. They're going to go outside, and Lockbaum is the man they call on. He has the first down. He picks up 5 on the play.
So Gordon Lockbaum picks up a lot of yards, Mike, although he missed the first game and then half a game last season. As a matter of fact, not playing in the Edgewood game because of an injury. Lockbaum finished with 912 rushing yards last year, scored 13 touchdowns. As a matter of fact, he and Sean Redmond scored 29 touchdowns between them last year.
Lockbaum and Redmond, number 2 and number 3 in Gloucester County scoring last year, finishing up with 86 and 84 points, just behind Willie Anderson. Lockbaum again on the left side, and they had plenty of running room there. The secondary comes up quickly to make the stop. Linebacker Alvin Davis coming from the middle. Gets credit for the hit, but not till Lockbaum has 5 more yards. He's carried the ball 3 times now for 14 yards.
And every play has been to the right side of the Edgewood line in the direction of Kevin Bullock. They're running away from Vince Principato, the defensive left end for Edgewood, who is considered one of the best at his position in the area.
Adams again will be the wing back to the right side. They'll keep 2 tight ends, Bateman and Lester. In tight will go with the inside reverse to Adams. An excellent play, well executed, and good yardage for another Glassboro first down. Adams, on his first carry, has 9 yards.
Adams, one of the keys to the offensive potential of this football team, Mike. Everybody knows what Redmond can do, and certainly Lockbaum, but John Avini extremely high on Adams' ability, and they'll spot him on plays like that. He is also a big play performer.
A lot of people think the guards from Glassboro may be a little too small to handle the big defensive line for Edgewood tonight, but remember, they do most of their blocking from a trapping formation. That gives them a little added advantage. That last play, the first trap we've seen. Lee Frank gets the ball in the air for the first time tonight, has his man in the end zone, but it falls incomplete. Bateman unable to hold on.
Mike, on that play, Bateman had Dennis Mitchell beaten by 8 to 10 yards, and Mitchell got back to make the play. Not surprisingly, when you consider that Dennis Mitchell holds the New Jersey all-groups record, Mike, in the 100, 200, and 400-meter runs.
That's speed.
Not too many people, I think, are going to run away from the Edgewood safety this year.
Second down, 10 to go from the Edgewood 25-yard line. Motion again from Adams. But it will be Redmond off left side, and look at the power as he bulls ahead and gets good yardage. Don Draft, number 5, coming up from the defensive halfback position to make the tackle. Redmond is going to pick up 5. They'll spot the ball at the Edgewood 20.
An interesting call coming up with a 3rd and 6. Frank, only a junior, had a fine sophomore season at quarterback for Glassboro, completing well over 50% of his passes.
Moving in as a sophomore in the middle of the 3rd game against Gloucester Catholic last year and taking over for Steve Crispin. And Crispin out of the football program now and the goalie for the soccer team. That's Jeff Crispin, not Steve. Inside reverse again. There's Adams. He finds that big hole. Has a chance for the end zone. And Pat Adams is going to get the first touchdown of the year for the Bulldogs. And once again, Bob, it's that big trap play with Irv Gastillo coming back from the right side and kicking out the nose guard, opening a huge hole for Adams.
Well, they've run it twice, but this is going to come back, Mike. Penalty Glassboro, apparently.
That's the signal, and that play will be ruined, but you can bet now with the yardage really being big on 2 times run, you'll see that play a lot of times tonight.
Got a first down the first time and a touchdown this time, although the touchdown wiped out for the penalty. So Glassboro controlling the football from the opening kickoff, fine return by Darrell Fowler, giving them good field position. However, now a 3rd down and about 16 situation and a little short passing down for Frank.
George Reeves, the referee tonight, and he gives us the signal. It's a holding penalty against the Bulldogs. Stewart is a big one, leading that team to the line of scrimmage. A junior, 6 foot, 240 pounds. That's a lot of protection in front of Lee Frank. Moving out to the double wing. Left side is Lockbaum. Adams comes to a slot in the right side with Bateman. It'll be the draw to Redmond. Has the one linebacker to beat. He's not going to do that. Alvin Davis, the senior, in the middle of the defensive group of linebackers, makes the tackle. It's a 4th down. They will still have just over 10 yards to go. The ball is spotted just outside the 25-yard line.
That was a good call. Had Davis not been there, that play would have gone for another 8 or 10 yards, possibly close to the first down. Of course, Al Davis, all South Jersey performer. He doesn't miss many tackles.
Still keeping the 2 tight ends in this obvious passing situation. Let's see if they shift. Will at least move Lockbaum out. Now moving along with him is Steve Bateman. Frank looking into the flat. And Lockbaum is unable to hold on. So the Glassboro drive will end at the Edgewood 25-yard line. And the Eagles will show us their offensive firepower with well, the clock is not running, but somewhere in the midst of the first period. Donavini, 18th year at Glassboro High School. This, his 9th year as head coach. And of course, that's in the coaching ranks. He's been here for a lot longer than that. Kevin Bullock, from the fullback position, will get the first call. He'll follow the block on the left side of Charlie Dickerson at the tackle position. And he picks up 6 yards. It'll be 2nd and 4.
Both of these coaches, John Avini of Glassboro, Greg Walder of Edgewood, expressing great respect for each other before the season began. Both of them saying they're scared to death of the opposing team's offense.
Full house backfield for the Eagles. One of the few teams left in South Jersey that use that. And once again, they'll go to their fullback, and he'll try the same hole one more time. And the tackle being made by linebacker Irv Gastillo on that play.
Looks like Kevin Bullock will be running the ball more than normally tonight with his twin brother Keith out with the ankle injury. Normally, Keith Bullock carries the ball on about 2 out of 3 plays for Edgewood. Kevin Bullock getting a call on the first 2 plays.
They'll bring the chains out, measure here, see if Edgewood has their first down of the night. George Reeves will take a long look, and as you can see, they have it just made. First down, Edgewood. Offensive line of Edgewood averaging 188 pounds. The defensive line for Glassboro weighs in at 182. Of course, a lot of that size, Bob, on the Glassboro side is made up by Stewart, 220 pounds, and pulls that average up. Edgewood actually has the balance, has the advantage man-to-man. Mitchell with his first carry and the great speed gets into the Glassboro secondary and near another first down as Lockbaum has to come up from his halfback spot to make the tackle.
Now, he's got to scare you to death, Mike. He gets a little bit of daylight. Nobody's going to catch him. I'm sure Glassboro is very aware of that. He almost broke that one.
Mike Furphy, the sophomore, number 7, getting the start at quarterback. The Eagles, they'll keep all those backs in and two tight ends. A couple of teams that lining up in conservative formations tonight. Run that guy by Eric Hill. Number 40, Hill starting in place of the injured Keith Bullock. And he'll get a couple of yards and enough for another Edgewood first down.
Like Edgewood with some kind of challenge this football season, of course, as part of the realigned Olympic Conference. They are in the medium school division, which is one of the probably the toughest division in South Jersey right now, with Overbrook, Deptford, Woodrow Wilson, Pennsauken. Quite a division.
Glassboro attacking with a five-man front. So watch the fullback who gets a big hole one more time. Kevin Bullock, you can't afford to give him that kind of opening, and he picks up 3 or 4 yards. Redmond comes in to make the tackle. Redmond and Lockbaum, you've heard their names. Castillo so far defensively, and what that points out is that problem that Avini and the rest of the Group 1 coaches face all the time.
Numbers, and of course Glassboro, being one of the smallest schools in the Olympic Conference, they have a solid 15 ball players. John Avini would put his 15 up against any in South Jersey he feels, but not a great deal of depth beyond that.
Chris Chambers in now to tailback position as they move to the I formation, but Burpee to put it up first time tonight has the man wide open. No question about it. Keith Gloucester, number 1. He'll be in for the touchdown. Just an outstanding good fake in the backfield, and then Burpee, what a way to start your varsity career at quarterback.
First pass,
48-yard touchdown pass.
and it was on the money. Gloucester did not have to break stride at all to pick off the ball, and we talked about that incredible Edgewood team speed. You would expect to see Dennis Mitchell out there beating his man by 6 or 7 yards, as did Gloucester. But Keith Gloucester, a name we haven't heard a lot of in the preseason, though senior veteran, making you look very, very easily.
Just streaked right down the right side. No faking involved there. Used that great speed, and a lot of people say this is not a football team, it's a track team. And look at this lineup now. Dennis Mitchell just lining up in a tailback position, going to run to the right side. It's everybody, student body right, and Mitchell's into the end zone and picks up 2 points. And so Edgewood here in the first quarter jump out to an 8-0 lead over Glassboro, and Bob made it look relatively easy.
They certainly did. Excellent offensive move, and remember, they did it without their leader, Keith Bullock, who's out with the injury. Burpee engineering the drive, 1 pass. That was a 52-yarder for the touchdown to Gloucester. The extra point run was good, 8-0, and Joe Mazzio, a little bit upset with himself for Glassboro, had made a fine penetration on the extra point run, missed the tackle, however, and that enabled Mitchell to win for the 2-pointer, 8-0.
Tyrone Furlow again, number 21, to tee the ball up for Edgewood, and Glassboro, who looked pretty good on their first drive of their own, stalled at the Edgewood 25. Will try and get things going again and match that touchdown by Edgewood. Redmond and Lockbaum will stand at their own 15-yard line to await the kickoff. They're going to move everybody up now on the Glassboro side. Remember, Furlow's first kick did not get much distance, and it was handled by an up man, Darrell Fowler. A little longer this time, still not much pipe. And from the 20-yard line, Sean Redmond with a big hole and great speed. Remember, Redmond is going to be caught from behind and thrown down. Tackle made by Trevor Melton. But there for an instant, it looked like we were going to match the Edgewood touchdown with Sean Redmond coming up with the great return.
Those 2 short kickoffs really hurting Edgewood, and Redmond did almost break it again. Only the outstanding Edgewood team speed preventing an 80-yard kickoff return as Melton caught Redmond from behind, but for the second straight time, Glassboro with fine field position, this time at the 42. The last time they started at their own 49. And remember, although they trail at 8-0, Glassboro already has had 1 touchdown wiped out by penalty.
Starting this time at the 43-yard line of Edgewood. Again, we've got problems with the chain gang on the far side. They held us up at the beginning of the game. They reported to the wrong field, I think, Bob. George Reed says, let's get started. He'll give us the whistle. Stewart Castillo, Mazzio, Joyce, and McNeil, the inside five for Glassboro. Frank, Redmond, Lockbaum in the backfield with Adams at the flanker position. Long count from the junior. Lockbaum on the sweep to the right side. Right into our cameraman. Right tackle Frandino over on that side.
He didn't give ground at all, Mike.
Not a
That was
bit.
impressive.
Lockbaum picking up 7 yards on that carry. Now, Bob, 4 carries tonight for Gordon Lockbaum and 21 yards. Second down, 3 yards to go. Ball marked at the 35-yard line. Keeping the same offensive setup, and now the one adjustment we've seen made quite a bit. Lockbaum going to a wing, bringing Adams in motion. They'll go off tackle to Redmond. Redmond finds yardage. He's got lots more. He has one man left to beat. He can't do that as Dennis Mitchell gets him in his sights, but Sean Redmond picking up outstanding yardage.
That's why Glassboro is going to be an outstanding football team this year. You send Lockbaum in one direction and come back with Redmond in the other direction. Very few high school football teams with 2 quality backs as Glassboro High has. If they stay healthy all season long, this football team is going to put a lot of points on the board.
First and 10 for the ball at the Edgewood 15-yard line.
Glassboro with a first down, marked at the Edgewood 15. Will go again to the double. Well, they'll just move Lockbaum to a halfback spot this time. There's that inside handoff to Adams, and once again he finds the big yardage, twists and struggles, tries to get into the end zone. He won't make it there, but picks up about 14 yards as the ball winds up at the Edgewood 1-yard line.
You have a feeling they kind of like that play, as that's the only play that Pat Adams has run for Glassboro so far, but 2 long first down runs, and of course the abortive touchdown run. That's quite a play.
And the nice thing about the explosiveness in the Glassboro lineup in the backfield, they could go to either one of those 2 men lining up in the eye behind Frank here to get the necessary yardage. Both power backs, Redmond and Lockbaum. They'll try Gordy on the outside, tries to cut back as he sees Don Draft come up quickly from the cornerback position, and in fact, Draft throws Lockbaum for a 1-yard loss.
That was a big league play by Draft. He had only one chance to get Lockbaum, and that was the submarining. He made a great play. When you can throw Lockbaum for any kind of a loss, you've made a defensive play.
And it'll be second down and goal. They'll mark the ball just about at the 2-yard line. The Bulldogs down 8-0 here. We're winding down the first quarter of play. Redmond follows Lockbaum's block and gets into the end zone. So Sean Redmond picks up the necessary 2 yards. And now it's an 8-6 ball game, and we'll see just what kind of decision John Avini makes here, whether he goes for the 2 to match Edgewood or goes for the kick. I've got to expect to try for 2.
I would think so, Mike, although Glassboro has such an explosive offense that he may feel that they're going to score at least one more time. It looks to me like they're going to try for 2 as Lee Frank looked over at John Avini for the call on the play. They'll go for 2 in the try.
Adams at the wing, 2 tight ends. Fullback position is Redmond. Left halfback is Lockbaum. It'll be Lockbaum. Then to Adams on the reverse, and he's in. And Adams having a great night. Only needs a couple of yards this time, but he gets the 2 and gets the 2 points.
Why not? We're going to take this break from Glassboro State College, where Glassboro has just tied Edgewood 8-8.
If you've had it with a rough ride on America's roads, Bowers Auto has the answer. The Monroe Bump Stop Tear Sale. Buy 1 Radiomatic Super Strut or Strut cartridge and get the second one for half price. These aren't just second-line shocks and struts. These are some of Monroe's best. The premium Radiomatic, the Super Strut, and the Strut replacement cartridge for those cars with McPherson-type suspensions. So put an end to that rough riding with a great deal. Come to Bowers Automotive Center, Delsey Drive in Glassboro, and say, the bump stops here.
We're still in the first quarter here at Glassboro, and things shaping up just the way we anticipated. We thought we were going to get a great offensive ball game. We're matched at 8 points apiece so far, but both teams have shown explosiveness the times that they've held the ball.
It'll be interesting now, Mike, to see whether Glassboro kicks away from Dennis Mitchell, the state record breaker in 3 different distance sprints. One of the deep backs is Mitchell on the right side. On the far side for Edgewood High School, Chris Chambers.
And Lee Frank, the quarterback, will do the kicking here on the kickoff for Glassboro. It will be short, but Chambers is going to have to come up and get it quickly. It doesn't, looking for the right side, but what a tremendous special team play made by number 21, Milton Ferrer.
That was not a good kick, but it worked out beautifully because it fell between the up man and the deep man. He had to play it on the bounce and couldn't get up ahead of steam. It was clear that Frank was, with orders, kicking away from Dennis Mitchell.
All right, the first time Edgewood had the ball, they started at their own 25 and had no trouble motoring the 75 necessary for their touchdown. They start this time from their 24-yard line. Burpee will be the quarterback. Remember, a sophomore getting his first start, wearing number 7. Again, they go back to the full house backfield. Chambers, Bullock, and Mitchell lining up there. And they start one more time with the fullback. Kevin Bullock has his 4th carry of the night. Gordon Lockbaum coming up, leading the way for Glassboro, making the tackle. And what a great football player. Everybody watching him offensively, and he's also strong as could be desired on the defensive side. Bullock picked up 5. It'll be 2nd and 5. Glassboro remaining in the 5-4. One cornerback dropping off, giving a 5-3 look. Fullback Bullock tries the left tackle spot. Boy, they really are counting on Dickerson defeating Dave Joyce from Glassboro at that hole. That's the 4th time they've gone in that direction. Bullock gets a couple of more yards. It will be 3rd down and 2.
Probably the best defensive play by Glassboro so far. The offensive line of Edgewood, Dickerson, Cabot, Principato, and Davis, and Cassiolo across the front, really doing a job.
All right, Dave Bateman, Bill Stewart, Mazzio, Joyce, and Lester, the defensive line for Glassboro. Dink McNeil and Irvin Castillo are linebackers. Chambers really struggling, looking for the first down, and it appears that he's going to get up to the 35-yard line before Mazzio can lead a charge of 4 or 5 Bulldogs making the tackle, and Edgewood's drive will continue.
Chambers only 160 pounds, but his second effort on that run, getting him the first down, bouncing off Mazzio, and I tell you, a fleet of fine backs for Edgewood, and their best one, Keith Bullock, not even in uniform.
Keith Gloucester, who has the touchdown, comes spread far to the left side. They're going to put number 5, Don Draft, in the slot there and line up in an I formation behind quarterback Burpee. With a deep draw, going to Mitchell, and he is just going to get back to the line of scrimmage as once again Joe Mazzio comes up strong to make the stop, and helping him out, number 66, Dink McNeil, known as Dink. Not too many people know his full name.
Ramadine.
Quite a player. He prefers it, too.
That draw, as you indicated, Mike, deep. As a matter of fact, very deep and not disguised very well. Really helped the Glassboro defense.
This time, Gloucester goes to the right side, and they bring Draft split as the flanker to the left side. Open backfield behind quarterback Burpee. Glassboro's adjusted. It will be a quick pass, looking across the middle, trying to get Gloucester, but this one will fall incomplete. Good defensive play made by Pat Adams. Number 17 is a little excited back there in the secondary.
Well, he should have it. We've only seen Burpee throw 2 passes, Mike, but he can drill the football, can he?
He comes up quickly. He showed us he could put it up long and on direction on that touchdown pass, and this time just fired the bullet. Check 3rd down now, 10 yards to go. Formation again, 2 split men and open backs, the passing situation. This time Burpee throwing it up in the air for grabs. Pat Adams will have it. Interception by Adams, looking for the blocking wall in front of him. He's got it on the right side, coming back in that direction. Can't get there, but still a great defensive play made by Pat Adams. Glassboro will take over at the Edgewood 45-yard line.
Very bad sophomore mistake, as you call it, Mike. He threw it up for grabs. That's exactly what he did. Did not even seem to have that much pressure, and made a very, very bad pass.
So Glassboro with the football for the 3rd time will start 45 yards away from the end zone. plays being sent in, of course, on every down. Kenny Lester getting in late this time, and he replaces Steve Bateman, who's got to hustle to get off the field. He'll make it as Lee Frank sets the double wing formation. Now they've got substitute Darrell Fowler in the ball game replacing Adams. Redmond again on the left side, and Sean Redmond, having a great evening so far, picks up 12 more yards. That gives him 49 yards already, Bob, on 7 carries.
Mike, you just get the feeling that either defense can stop the other offense. We played one quarter at Glassboro State College. The score, Glassboro High 8, Edgewood Regional 8. We'll be back after this.
And it's 1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock shop, 5, 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock shop, 9, 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock shop. You can shop around the clock, all right, with your ATM mini market. Drive right up in your car and park it and shop around the clock, all right. We're open morning, noon, and night. You can shop around the clock all day and night.
This month at A&P Mini Market, 32-ouncer is 39 cents. And taquito burritos, 79 cents.
We're tied, both teams with 8 points as we start the second quarter of action between Edgewood and Glassboro. Mike Linder along with Bob Schreck for Channel 5, the first of many football games we'll be bringing you all season long here in Gloucester County high school action.
A lot of night football this year, Mike. We were very concerned about 20 minutes before game time. There wasn't anybody here, but as I look out now, there's a pretty good crowd out there. Edgewood has brought a nice contingent from Camden County, a pretty good Glassboro High School crowd forming. There's another game in Gloucester County tonight. Gateway Regional High School with portable lights hosting Haddon Township. First night game ever for Gateway.
Glassboro runners with a great first quarter. They picked up 94 yards on the ground, just 6 away from that 100 mark, and now some confusion from the two wingbacks. Fowler goes in motion. They're going to go with Redmond. They'll keep running that play until Edgewood learns to stop it, and they're not going to do it this time as Redmond appears to have picked up 14 yards and another first down. That'll put him over 100, and it'll put him, Bob, already at 63 yards on the night.
I love it the way he puts his head down, Mike, for that last yard or two also. That's a gift that not a whole lot of high school runners have. He employs it very, very well.
It will be a Glassboro first down. They'll mark it at the Edgewood 21-yard line. Remember, Fowler replacing Adams, who's had such a great night already from the wingback spot, even though he's only carried the ball 3 times. They'll toss it to Lockbaum. Great block from Redmond on the right side. Lockbaum is looking for the end zone. He's not going to get there, but he'll be down to the Edgewood 5-yard line. That'll be a 15-yard pickup for Gordon Lockbaum.
Tried to deke Dennis Mitchell for the last 5 yards, but Mitchell didn't go with the fake, made the good open field tackle. But again, as I was saying just before we broke for the quarter, Mike, you just get the feeling that these defenses can't do anything about either one of these offenses. The only 2 stoppages in the first quarter were on a penalty that stopped Glassboro from going on to the end zone, and the interception that Murphy suffered.
Double wing setup, looking for the final 5 yards. Frank has Redmond behind him, brings Lockbaum in motion. They'll go to Redmond on the right side. Redmond is not going to get it. He'll get a couple of more yards, bring them even closer, down near the 2-yard line. It will be second down and goal to go.
Initial contact that time by Tony Robinson. Good play. Robinson playing the claw linebacker for Edgewood. They have a claw linebacker, a blood linebacker, and an eagle linebacker.
Kevin Bullock on the left side at the defensive end being tested. Vince Principato at the right defensive end also getting attacked by the Glassboro offense. It has had success off tackle both ways so far. Wing T formation this time. They'll go to Lockbaum after the fake. Good block from the guard on the right side, and Lockbaum will be in for the touchdown. What a block thrown by number 67, Joe Mazzio. Super job, and Glassboro has the lead, 14-8.
Mazzio, one of the fine two-way players for Glassboro High School, very versatile, and Lockbaum again showing the greatness that very few high school backs have, able to get in the end zone when apparently he should have been stopped at the 2-yard line. He could sniff it, and another touchdown for Lockbaum, who had 13 of them last year.
Looks like John Avini is going to order the kick this time as Lee Frank has the tee set up and is ready to kick. The ball will be placed on the 10-yard line. The hold will be Gordon Lockbaum. No, Lockbaum's going to fake it, looking to throw, throws it back in the middle. Adams goes for it. He is unable to get it. Also looking for Redmond. It will be incomplete. The score will remain Glassboro 14, Edgewood 8.
Well, we've had some long drives in this football game. Both offenses appear to be in mid-season form. We anticipated a high-scoring game, and after last year's 8-7 Edgewood victory, this year just inside the start of the second quarter, already 3 touchdowns, a 14-8 Glassboro lead, and two of the best offenses in South Jersey, and they're both showing it right here in the first game. So Mike will be moving along to Woodbury High School tomorrow to watch the Thundering Herd of Woodbury, coached by Larry Ginsburg, play Steve Michael Chuck's West Effort Eagles. Those Colonial Conference rivals, both of them could be in for kind of a long season, so it's an important opener for both schools.
Standing deep will be Chris Chambers, number 14, and Dennis Mitchell, number 2 for Edgewood. Both speedsters, of course. Mitchell, the one with all the ink. We know how he can go. Lee Frank, number 14, the kickoff for Glassboro. You know, that West Effort Woodbury game, Woodbury, everybody thinks are really down, but there's something about the magic between Woodbury and West Effort. They just have West Effort's number, and so Woodbury looking forward with anticipation to the Morris game.
Yeah, Woodbury only won twice last year. West Effort did too, but Woodbury handled West Effort very easily in their meeting last season.
You know the last time West Effort scored against Woodbury? It's been quite a while. I'll let you think about that one.
That's today's trivia question.
That's the one. 14-8, Glassboro on top. Frank to kick. Chambers and Mitchell deep to receive.
For Glassboro. Bullock and Chambers is deep for Edgewood.
Second quarter action. We can't give you the official time. The scoreboard clock is not operating. Short kick up in the air. It will be Chambers from his own 24-yard line. Chambers looks for room on the right side, and he is brought down by Mark Geist. Number 43 getting a chance to play on special teams, comes up with the tackle.
Both teams, Mike, obviously have a weakness on their kickoffs, unable to get the ball deep, and both teams have had superlative field position on all kickoff returns. This one at the 37-yard line of Edgewood is perhaps the deepest the receiving team has had to start a drive.
It's surprising that Glassboro has trouble. John Avini, one of the best place kickers ever to come out of this area, and traditionally has been able to come up with good kickoff men.
Former kicker for the Bears and the Redskins.
Burby starting with his fullback to start this offensive series. They've done that every time they've had the football tonight, and he gets 3 yards. It will be 2nd and 7. Bullock now carrying the ball 6 times for 25 yards in tonight's ball game.
Kevin normally used primarily as a blocker when his twin brother Keith is in the backfield, but as we've indicated before, with Keith out, Kevin being called on to run the ball more often tonight.
Greg Walter sending in plays also, as Avini does from the sidelines on each selection. Burby keeps his backs full house. Double tight end. Fullback Bullock. Not going to get much at all. He'll get about a yard before the linebacker, Mazzio, makes the tackle along with number 54, Dave Joyce. And they've been playing very strong football in that front area for Glassboro so far. Let's give him a couple of yards and make it 3rd down and 5.
Mazzio is the quickest lineman on the Glassboro High School football team, and he is around the ball constantly.
This time Gloucester along.
For Edgewood at their own 42-yard line. As Burby brings him up.
Well, we're going to have an official problem here. We've got some trouble with the headgear of Kevin Bullock. George Reeves making the adjustment. Don Draft is moved to the far side along with Keith Gloucester. They line up in a slot formation. Glassboro not adjusting that well, Bob. We'll talk about that in a minute as they look downfield for draft. But, Bob, on that previous play, they had the slot formation set to the left side with the two players, and Redmond was the only defender from Glassboro to move out in that direction. And I think Burpee might have read that and got rid of the ball too quickly, anticipating a successful pass.
Double coverage on draft by Darrell Fowler and Redmond in the end, however, and a bad throw again by Burpee, who telegraphed that one and threw it badly. First punt of the ball game.
Keith Regan to punt the football, and he gets the ball way up in the air. He won't get it this time, but he'll get pretty good distance, and it'll force a fair catch by Lockbaum at the Glassboro 24-yard line, and the Bulldogs start another drive.
Well, Lockbaum, smart to fair catch that one, Mike, with Dennis Mitchell breathing right down on his neck.
Glassboro with the football for the fourth time in tonight's ball game, and Edgewood wants a timeout.
So with Glassboro High School leading Edgewood 14-8 about midway in the second quarter, we'll take this break and be right back.
Hello, I'm Jack Herbert. Playing athletics taught me a lot about competition. And competition means to me giving your best at all times, whether it be to your teammates or your customers. As a former teacher and coach, I also know what fair play is. And to us at Herbert Fuel, fair play means giving you the best, whether it be an automatic delivery, 24-hour emergency service, or maybe introducing you to the world of solar energy. We are competitive, and fairness is our motto.
Let Herbert do it. Call Herbert Fuel, 468-0129.
Midway through the second quarter, Glassboro with a 14-8 lead over Edgewood, and they'll start first and 10 from their own 24-yard line. Frank wants to throw on first down, looking across the middle, and nearly gets it into the hands of Alvin Davis, the excellent linebacker who had dropped deep for the coverage.
Davis thought he should have had it. It's not one of Frank's better throws, but he'll make a lot of good ones. Completion percentage almost 60 as a sophomore.
How about Glassboro? No huddle at all. Come right up to the line of scrimmage on this play. They move to a double wing setup, moving Lockbaum to the left side. There's movement on the line that time. The lineman, number 66, the tackle, Dink McNeil, moved as Adams started in motion, and that's, of course, a dead ball foul. As soon as they take that stance, they have to stay there, and it's going to cost Glassboro 5 yards. It'll be third, 15 yards to go.
Only second penalty of the game, both of them against Glassboro. Of course, the first one, erasing a touchdown run from the wingback position by Pat Adams. That was in the first quarter. Since then, Glassboro has scored twice to overcome an 8-0 deficit and lead 14-8.
Not knowing John Avini going to select the play for him. If he goes for the pass, watch Redmond on a screen. They'll move this time. They'll come out with Bateman moving far to the left, Lockbaum moving into the slot. They did look for Redmond. They're going to go to Lockman, however, instead. And it will be incomplete. And what a tough night for Lee Frank so far. That's 5 passes and is yet to complete his first one.
A year ago, Frank, 32 for 56, 649 yards, 5 interceptions, but 6 touchdown passes. Quite a sophomore season. He was a key ingredient in that offense for Glassboro, Mike, which rolled up an average of 50 points over one 4-game stretch, and for the season totaled 320 points, one of the top team marks in South Jersey.
And maybe the most important thing about Lee Frank that you mentioned, Bob, was the fact that he's got that start as a sophomore, and boy, is that tough to come in and play at the quarterback position in your second year of high school. Now looking the other way for the screen. There's the play, and Redmond has it. But Edgewood defense is up to the task this time, and Frank's first completion will go for just a yard. It will be a 4th down, and Glassboro will be forced to punt.
Kevin Bullock made that play, moving in from the defensive end position. Great speed on the rush of Frank. Frank had to drop too deep to throw his screen pass. The play never really materialized, and as a consequence, Glassboro, for the first time, forced to punt, and Edgewood should emerge from this with good field position.
Lee Frank has handled all the kicking chores for the Bulldogs tonight. Drops to his own 10-yard line.
Chambers and Hill deep for
Chambers
Edgewood.
and Hill will await the punt. Bad snap, and Frank has to really hustle to get it up. He has good hang time. It's fumbled.
Fumble on the
Now
play.
let's see who's going to cover it. An awful lot of Bulldogs there and only one Edgewood man, but it appeared to me from this position that Edgewood got back on top of it, and it will be recovered by Chambers, and that's nearly a mistake for the Eagles. Glassboro looking to come up with good field position. Instead, Edgewood will start from the Glassboro 49-yard
Well,
line.
they got away with that one. It was a mistake by Eric Hill. He should have called for a fair catch because the Glassboro coverage was within about a half a yard of him when he tried to make the catch and run with it. Very dangerous play, and I'm sure Greg Waller will tell him about that.
First and 10, Edgewood after Bulldogs.
3 of the last 4 years, only 1 point separated these teams from one another in each ball game, and of course Edgewood winning 8-7 a year ago. Glassboro with the 14-8 lead now. Fullback. No surprise, was it, Bob? Has there been a series yet in which he hasn't carried the ball on the first play?
It's been the pattern. Great defensive play that time by Lockbaum. We talk about his offense, but he's one of those players who could be recruited to play either offense or defense, I think, in college, depending on the level. Of course, he does not have the great size for a college running back, but he does have the size perhaps to play corner in college.
Bullock lost 2. It'll be 2nd down and 12. Ball just on the Edgewood side of midfield. With the option play coming to Chambers. Chambers looking for the room on the right side. Lockbaum and Adams there to make the tackle, and he'll get past the original line of scrimmage, pick up maybe another yard. The ball's going to be marked at about the Glassboro 47-yard line. It will be 3rd down, 9 yards to go.
Pat Adams, a name we've been calling quite often tonight. It's a Glassboro team composed of a lot of players who are going to get an awful lot of publicity, some great individual performers. Pat Adams, not one of the people we've heard a great deal about, but he has made some big plays both offensively and defensively tonight.
Mike Purpey has thrown the ball 4 times tonight, completed but 1. However, that a big one, a 48-yard touchdown pass to Keith Gloucester. Probably will go to the air here. As a slot formation to the left side, Draft in the slot, and Gloucester split wide to the left. With a deep drop, Purpey, he's got pressure from Stewart. Now Mazzio in, but it's going to be nearly caught downfield, but falls incomplete as they're unable to complete it with a holding penalty whistled against Edgewood. We'll see whether Glassboro wants to bring up 4th down and force the punt, or if they want to move Edgewood back deeper. Lockbaum is talking to Reeves.
It looks like they're going to force the punt by great penetration, as you indicated, by Mazzio. Also, Bill Stewart in there. Stewart, 220-pounder, not particularly quick, but he made an excellent penetration, too. This penalty is refused, and the Bulldogs will force the punt.
Keith Regan again will have another opportunity. We enjoyed watching him before the ball game. His first punt didn't come up to the standards we saw in practice, but on his reputation, he can get it a long way.
Reagan's fortunate to be out there, Mike, after an accident he had this summer in baseball. Great baseball player, sliding into second base, tore his kneecap.
He'll stand at his own 40. Lockbaum and Redmond waiting for the kick. He gets it up in the air. Doesn't have that much distance. It's going to drop and bounce towards the Glassboro 20-yard line. Now rolls dead at about the 17. The Bulldogs have it there.
A 33-yard punt by Reagan. So the offenses have quieted down a little bit since the early explosiveness, but Glassboro with a lead 14-8, starting this drive deep in their own territory from the 17.
Bart Castillo and Mazzio doing a great job in the blocking pattern so far for the Bulldogs. They've been piling up the yards on the ground. Adams will come back on that inside play, and he gets past Bullock, who had him at the line of scrimmage, and Adams is going to get out near the 25-yard line. He'll pick up about 7 on it. It'll be 2nd down and 3 yards to go.
Adams very quick, only 155-pounder, but very difficult to tackle. Very shifty runner. Hard to get a good, clean shot on him. He's made some fine early runs. 7 yards that time.
That time the key block thrown by Castillo, pulling from the right guard position, coming down and trapping the defensive tackle on the right side of the Edgewood line. Frank with a double wing set up will again bring Adams in motion, but they'll go to Redmond, who goes off the lineman's block that time. Good job done by McNeil, and Redmond is going to be very close to a first down. Looks like he's a little short. George Reeves wants to bring in the chains, I believe.
Redmond down, Mike.
Oh, and I don't like what he's holding. He's got the right knee they're taking a look at, and never want to see that with any ball player.
He went down hard on the tackle by Tony Robinson. Robinson with a fine open field tackle. This is good to see. Redmond is up, limping slightly, but coming off under his own power, and apparently okay. But that was a hard open field tackle by Tony Robinson.
Well, he got a couple of yards, and let's see where they mark it now. Oh, they are going to bring the chains in and see if he does have the first down.
Milton Ferrer coming in to run from Redmond's position.
And he is going to be shy by a little more than a foot. He'll take the ball back out to the slash mark. Reeves will make the placement. Glassboro needs about a half a yard for the first down.
I don't think there's anything wrong with Redmond, Mike. He's walking around pretty well. Expect to see him back in there very shortly.
The big play here for Edgewood. They're down 14-8. We haven't seen the signal for 4 minutes remaining in the half just yet. Redmond might just get a rest till then. He's going to take that helmet off and sit on the end of the bench. I think he'll maybe put some ice on that knee. He is put together, that young man.
I would think Lockbaum would get the call here, Mike.
Fowler is in at the fullback spot, number 12. Long count from Frank, brings Adams in motion, turns, goes inside on the counter to Lockbaum, and what a special play made by Gordon Lockbaum that time. Had enough, Bob, I think, on the initial thrust for the first down, but picked up that extra 2-3 yards on his own.
Has a reputation of being a tremendous second effort back, showed it there, and that was a big play for Glassboro. They certainly did not want to punt the football to Edgewood and give Edgewood good field position this close to the end of the half. They'd like to control it and perhaps go in for a third score.
First and 10 Bulldogs at their own 33-yard line as Frank brings them up.
Everybody tight this time for the Bulldogs. They'll pitch it to Lockbaum on the left side. Turns back inside the blocks, turn back upfield. Makes 2 or 3 great moves and struggles to midfield. And they're going to get him, but not till he gets to about that 50-yard line. And he's got 17 yards on that carry.
Vintage Lockbaum run there, the best he's done so far. Gianavini calling a timeout. Lockbaum very, very slippery. Has the quickest feet that Gianavini says he has ever seen on a high school football player.
14-8 the score as we approach halftime here. We'll take a break from Glassboro State College and be back with more after this.
Coast-to-coast live coverage of the NHL, right on through the Stanley Cup Finals. Crash the boards with some of the world's greatest athletes like the Doctor, Moses, Kareem, and Bird, when USA's Thursday night NBA returns for another dazzling season. And USA continues another knockout tradition with our weekly hit Friday Night Boxing. Catch the spirit when we harvest our nation's finest on College Football 83. And USA keeps you sky high with the big men on campus from the Big East, SEC, the ACC, and more on College Basketball 84. Plus, USA serves up the finest tennis from around the world, keeps you rolling on the PBA Tour, and much, much more. An unparalleled sports schedule that makes your season ticket the winning ticket. Only on USA this fall.
Woodbury, Woodbury Heights, Anchua, National Park, Deptford, 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 Woodbury, Woodbu Paulsboro, Gibbstown, West Deptford, Glassboro, Franklinville, Mickleton, Pittman, and Sewell. 16 locations in 13 communities. The National Bank and Trust Company of Gloucester County. For your convenience.
At the 49-yard line.
First and 10 from the 50-yard line for Glassboro. They'd like to get the ball in the end zone one more time before halftime, and Lee Frank's going to try and do it in the air. Goes with the screen pass to Redmond, but he hurried that one, and I don't think it would have mattered because there was good coverage from the Edgewood pass defense. Second down, 10 yards to go. Glassboro, Bob, with plenty of time with the clock stopped, still choose to come right up on the line of scrimmage. 1 for 7, Lee Frank. What a dismal first half passing for this young man, and we know that he's a lot better than what that statistic shows. They'll go with the draw play to Redmond. Redmond looking for good yardage. Flag goes down in holding territory, and again the clock will stop as Redmond appeared to pick up 8 yards, but I think that will be nullified.
Well, disguised draw, but it is a holding call against Glassboro. This one really hurts. You're talking about Frank. He does not look as sure of himself throwing the football, Mike, as we saw him several times last year.
Well, as a sophomore, maybe he came in, Bob, and didn't know any better and just believed he could do it and set up in that pocket. He's got a whole year from then to think about it, and perhaps is doing just a little bit too much thinking and not enough reacting out there, and that can hurt a quarterback.
And he is getting the rush, no doubt about that. So big loss on the penalty by Glassboro. Now second down and about 25 to go.
They'll mark the ball at the Glassboro 36-yard line. Edgewood will drop deep secondary, looking for the pass. They want to keep everything up in front of them. Adams is the only man split. He's a wing back on the right side. Now we see the adjustment from Glassboro. They bring Bateman out. Frank looks to the sideline, nearly picked off. That one smelled out just beautifully by defensive backfield man Tony Robinson, and he's been playing real well on defense for the Eagles.
Big rush again by Edgewood, this time by Whitney Durham and by Kevin Bullock. And again, Frank unable to deal with the pressure. That could have been 6 in the opposite direction.
Third down, 24 yards to go. Frank has to ask for a lot of protection from his line this time, as on this situation, the Edgewood line will just wind up and come. They're not worrying about any running play in this situation. The linebackers will look for the draw. And Frank is going to move, and there's a dead ball foul. The flags fly, and whistles blow, and we'll just move the ball 5 yards. Illegal procedure will be the official call. Reeves will march off 5 against the Bulldogs, and penalties hurting Glassboro in this drive.
Yeah, for the first time, really, the Glassboro offense in a bit of disarray.
Started from their own 17-yard line, and they were up to midfield on the lock bomb run, and now they're back at their own 32-yard line.
I think they'll keep this one on the ground, Mike. Such a long way to go.
27 yards to go for the first down. They'll split Dave Bateman far to the right side. They'll leave Adams in the slot there. They'll go with the draw again to Redmond. Gets by the initial defensive thrust, gets out of bounds, stops the clock, but it will be a fourth down for Glassboro. Redmond picking up 7 yards on that carry.
Now, maybe he would be content now to go to the locker room with a 14-8 lead, but Edgewood, with all those dangerous offensive players, they call a timeout.
A great offensive running from Glassboro so far tonight. Sean Redmond, surprisingly, has carried the ball the most of any of the runners. He's had 11 carries for 75 yards. Lockbaum, the one that we anticipate handling the ball most of the time, has gotten the call 9 times and come up with 58 yards. Pat Adams handling it 4 times for 32 yards. So they're really doing a great job blocking up front, and some tremendous runners back there to get into those holes quickly.
A lot of coaches in South Jersey would like to have either one of those backs to set the tempo for their offense. John Avini blessed with not one but 2 truly outstanding backs. Gordon Lockbaum is considered by many people one of the top half-dozen backs to come out of this area in a long, long time. Sean Redmond with still one more year of eligibility after this one. Some people think he's going to be even better than Lockbaum. So John Avini, although he doesn't have the great numbers, feels that his top 15 football players as good as any in South Jersey, and Lockbaum and Redmond, two of the very best.
There's a mismatch in numbers, no question about it. Edgewood, a real big school relative to the size of Glassboro, and considering that, it has been an outstanding rivalry over the years. Remember, this is the 25th time these two teams have met. Lee Frank to punt, gets it off. Fair catch called for by Eric Hill. He gets the ball out of bounds. Edgewood should get an opportunity from their own 41-yard line.
Well, now they'll put the burners in, Mike. I'm pretty sure there's not much time to go. We don't know how much time. The scoreboard clock is down, but remember they have the burners out there. They have Burpee able to throw the ball long. They have Keith Gloucester in there who caught the 52-yard touchdown pass. Don Draft is also a speedster, plays the flanker position. And Dennis Mitchell in there. Mitchell has not been playing on a lot of offensive plays, so they have all the burners, the track team in there now.
They'll split men out all over the place, and in fact, they're going to drop to the shotgun formation. Burpee standing now on his own 35-yard line. Drops, looks, wants to go across to Gloucester. Gloucester has it. Lockbaum there to make the tackle. We'll keep the ball in play. Let's see if Edgewood quickly calls a timeout, and they do, as Burpee now throwing the ball 6 times for 2 completions, and Keith Gloucester, the recipient of both those completions. The ball will be marked at the Edgewood 47-yard line.
Urban Castillo didn't make the tackle, but he did make the play. He held the Gloucester up and prevented a long gainer. Well, that's some relay team Edgewood has in there now, Mike. That's got to be very scary for the defensive backs to face not one, but a quartet of speedsters as Greg Waller has in there now.
Imagine how many years coaches go without ever getting the speed in an awful lot of schools, and it just seems almost unfair to a lot of the coaches around that Waller should have so much speed collected on one unit.
He's got 18 players on this team, Mike, who were part of the track team last year. Edgewood had the #1 ranked track team in the state of New Jersey. That should give the opposition some indication of what kind of speed there is on this team.
Draft and Gloucester split to the right side. High formation behind Burpee. He'll go with the deep draw in the backfield, and nothing doing there.
They don't disguise that draw well at all, Mike.
Yeah.
That's the second time they've run that.
Mitchell, in fact, well, we'll credit him with a yard on the carry. They want to stop the clock, throw it out of bounds, and that's what will happen. The ball thrown in the direction of Keith Gloucester, but obviously just an attempt by Burpee to stop the clock, and now we'll have a chance to go back and talk it over.
That's an interesting call, though, Mike, because it's 4th down and 7 coming up from their own territory, the 44-yard line. The question is, do they try to get the first down with little time remaining, and in the event they miss it, give Glassboro an opportunity to push one in before the end? I think they're going to kick it.
At least they're going to line up in that formation. Keith Reagan coming into the ball game, number 3. And he will line up in punt formation. Doesn't look like Glassboro believes it, or at least they're not going to drop deep and take any chance of a fumble downfield. So wait and see what Reagan does. Does put it up in the air. Glassboro stays away from it. They'll watch it bounce and roll around and roll towards the Glassboro end zone, and it'll be whistle dead at the Glassboro 27-yard line. Linesman taking a look at his clock. Can't be very much time left there. They've got to be in the final seconds. Been checking the clock after every play, and the Bulldogs will have an opportunity.
I would not think they're going to take any risks at this point. I think they'll just keep the football on the ground and run the clock out. They're too deep in their own territory to get too fancy.
From their 27-yard line, 1st and 10. Edgewood dropping 4 men deep to keep everything in front of them. They'll rush with 4 men, keep 3 linebackers back in the passing defensive area. Pat Adams trying to get big yardage. He'll get out of bounds, stop the clock. He'll take the linesman down also and get out to around the 35-yard line before he stops. And in fact, will be credited with 9 yards on the carry.
See, our sideline cameraman was well out of the way on that one, Mike. He already learned.
Brandino staying down at the other end. second down, 1 yard to go. More importantly, not much time left. And Lee Frank, who's had a dismal first half in the air, just might not put the ball up again, take a chance on an interception. There's that play to Adams again. And he'll go outside, get the first down, and try to stop the clock. And apparently he's done that.
Great speed by Kevin Bullock from the defensive end position. Bullock twins, very gifted athletes. Really kind of sorry we're not seeing the other one, Mike. I was looking forward to seeing Keith Bullock play. I'm sure a lot of the scouts who are in the stands tonight were hoping they'd see him play too.
And if they arrived here and didn't get a phone call, they really may be a little upset because I'm sure Walter notified a lot of them that he knew would be here tonight that Bullock would not be playing. 1st and 10. Gordon Lockbaum on the right side has blockers out in front of him. He's going to turn upfield and get close to 10 yards. In fact, we'll have another Glassboro first down, which will temporarily stop the clock as they move the chains. Lockbaum will pick up 10. He'll have 68 for the first half. And that'll do it for the first half of action. Glassboro will go to the locker room, leading Edgewood 14-8. We'll be back with more following these messages.
If you've had it with a rough ride on America's roads, Bowers Auto has the answer. The Monroe Bump Stop Tear Sale. Buy one Radiomatic, Super Strut, or Strut cartridge and get the second one for half price. These aren't just second-line shocks and struts. These are some of Monroe's best. The premium Radiomatic, the Super Strut, and the Strut replacement cartridge for those cars with McPherson-type suspension. So put an end to that rough riding with a great deal. Come to Bowers Automotive Center, Chelsea Drive in Glassboro, and say, the bump stops here.
Edgewood will start the second half on the short end of a 14-8 score. They have 1st and 10 from their own 35-yard line. Mike Linder along with Bob Schrack here at Glassboro State College. Opening game 1983 high school football in Gloucester County.
Defenses really took charge in the second quarter, Mike. It looked like every time somebody touched the ball in the first quarter plus that somebody was going to score a touchdown, but it settled down.
Burpee still at quarterback. They line up in an I formation this time, and they're going to go to the deep man, Mitchell. Mitchell has a nice hole, and only a reach-out tackle by Kenny Lester kept him from getting big yardage. Mitchell will pick up 4 on the first play of the second half. It'll be 2nd down and 6.
Big play by Lester, only a sophomore. The coaching staff really high on the potential of this young man.
Greg Water making a lot of changes offensively on every play. This time he will remain in the I formation. Saw the full house backfield quite a bit from Edgewood in the first half. Unbalanced line to the right side, and they're going to go to Mitchell again, looking for outside. They'd like to unleash him and get that speed moving up the sideline, but Pat Adams drives him out of side on the side along with Gordon Lockbaum, and that's this time Mitchell will just get a yard. It will be 3rd down and 5 yards to go.
Pat Adams, a big player throughout this football game, both offensively and defensively.
Defensive signals being called by Dink McNeil. Dink lines up at a linebacker spot. He has his team in a 5-4 alignment. They're going to come with the inside play, and Graff will not get anything. In fact, might lose a yard as the defensive line for Glassboro was not fooled at all. McNeil and Mazzio in on the stop for the Bulldogs. It will be 4th down, and Edgewood will be forced to punt.
Defensive effort by Glassboro. They'll get the ball early in the 3rd quarter. Obviously, something that John Avini and staff talked about at halftime, containing this high-powered Edgewood offense.
Keith Riggin standing at his own 24-yard line. Again, has a real high one, and Lockbaum will call for the fair catch. There's a little trouble with one of the Edgewood players, but holds on to the football. Glassboro will take over starting at their own 41-yard line.
That's amazing, Mike. Dennis Mitchell down here. Mitchell could have caught the ball himself. He was down behind Lockbaum before Lockbaum player caught the ball. What amazing speed that young man has.
Lee Frank, who had a terrible first half attempting to pass the ball, going 1 for 8. will be the quarterback.
Bulldogs on the 40-yard line. Frank brings it up.
Lockbaum and Redmond starting in the backfield. Good to see Sean back at the fullback spot. Remember, he had a little problem. Looked like a possible knee injury as the first half came to an end. Redmond does not look hurt here as he explodes off the left side for 8 yards on that play. It'll be second down and 2 yards to go.
Well, Mike, we had a chance at halftime to mingle in the crowd, and a lot of people very impressed with the ground game of this Glassboro football team. Some people are a little bit surprised that Lee Frank threw the football 8 times in the first half with a 1-2 running punch with the capabilities of Lockbaum and Redmond. I think a lot of people feel they can keep the ball on the ground just about all the time.
They'll move from the I formation to the wing T setup, and Adams again in motion, but they're going to counter with Lockbaum this time, and Lockbaum struggles looking for the first down. He'll be very, very close. George Reeves, the referee tonight, will take a quick look across to the side and decide whether he wants to bring the chains in. There's a Glassboro player down on the field, and they'll be out quickly to check on him, see if there's any real problems. And we'll take a look at the statistics for the first half. Rushing, really a big edge to Glassboro, unbelievably. 186 yards for Glassboro in the first half, and Edgewood, who looked very good on their first drive, held to just 45. Passing, this has not been a night for quarterbacks. Glassboro 1 for 9, one of those passes being attempted by Lockbaum, the other 8 by Lee Frank, and for Edgewood 2 for 7, the first pass of the night for Berthe, the first in his career, in fact, goes for a 48-yard touchdown, and he has also thrown an interception. So the statistical edge clearly to Glassboro in the first half. Injured player, Irving Gustillo, starting guard and linebacker, and he's been an important player for the Bulldogs tonight. And he's limping his heels off.
At the 50-yard line.
50-yard line now, just shy of the first down by maybe 6 inches. Lockbaum is going to get the first down and more, and he is up close to the Edgewood 42-yard line as he picks up 7. So it will be a Bulldog first down. Lockbaum now, Bob, with 75 yards on 11 carries. Redmond, with the balanced offensive attack, has carried the ball 12 times. He's the leading gainer in the game. He has 83 to this point.
There's some running balance.
Edgewood remaining in the 5-man front. They've got 3 linebackers. Trouble this time, and Frank very intelligently just covers the football as he is quickly grabbed by Terry Johnson, number 77, who blew in from the defensive right side. So it will be a loss of 5 yards for Lee Frank. It will be a second down and 15 yards to go. The ball marked now just ahead of the Edgewood 46.
Running figures for Lockbaum and Redmond you're talking about, Mike, really not surprising in light of the fact that Lockbaum averaged 8.3 last year and Redmond 6.3 per carry.
Reverse to Adams, looking for blockers in front of him. There's a penalty flag down as Pat Adams again has great running yardage. He picks up a first down, but it looks as if a hold is going to be assessed against Glassboro, and that'll be the second time that Adams has had outstanding yardage negated by a penalty.
The first time was a touchdown run. But Glassboro really hurting itself with penalties in this football game. That's 3 damaging penalties, and that's their big play gainer all night long. Pat Adams, that play obviously made for that young man.
Good blocking out in front of him. Dave Bateman, Bob, interestingly, the end moving with Adams and trap blocking from the right side all the way back to the left side. And haven't seen the end trap run for a number of years by high school teams. Avini still has that one in the bag of tricks.
Long second down play coming up for Glassboro High School now. It'll be second down and 24.
Well, we'll see what kind of adjustments have been made in the passing game during halftime by Avini and his staff.
Brings up second at about 26.
Frank is not going to spend many games with the kind of statistics he's had so far tonight. Double wing set up now. Lockbaum on the left side, Adams on the right. Pitch to Redmond. Puts the block out in front of him and puts his head down, knocked out of bounds as he crosses midfield, gets the ball to the Edgewood 48. He'll be way shy of the original line of scrimmage. And we'll have a third down now and still long to go for Glassboro. Credit Redmond with 7 yards on that carry.
It's a moral victory for the defense if they can hold Lockbaum or Redmond to less than 8 or 9 yards.
The big play called for long running yardage so far has been that counter play in the middle. So if they come back with that, there's Adams in motion. They fake to him. Going with the pass to Redmond. Redmond caught up with quickly by Tony Robinson, who's been the defensive standout in the secondary for the Eagles. And Glassboro is going to be in punting situation.
Yeah, that's about the third time tonight. Robinson has made an open field tackle to prevent a much longer Glassboro gain. He's an outstanding tackler.
Only the second completion of the night for Lee Frank, both of them going to Sean Redmond. And now Frank will be forced to drop the punt. Chambers, number 14, and Eric Hill, number 40, dropping to their own 15-yard line to await Frank's punt. A beautiful kick this time. This is going to find the end zone and be a touchback. It'll come back out. But the big thing, Frank did not give those speedsters a chance to return it.
Yeah, they had a couple more back that time. They had Chambers back there and Eric Hill. They used Dennis Mitchell as an up man on the punt returns. Kind of surprising they don't put him back there with the blazing speed. Glassboro's done a pretty good job tonight of neutralizing the Edgewood speed, except for the one time that Keith Gloucester, the split end, beat the Glassboro defense and turned it into a long touchdown pass, the only one of the game for the Eagles. Otherwise, Glassboro defensively has pretty much contained the great speed of Edgewood.
Castillo, number 60, who was injured, is back in now for Glassboro at the right defensive linebacking position. Bill Stewart came up strong and defeated the blocker, allowing Glassboro to close that run down quickly. No gain will be made for Edgewood. It will be 2nd and 10 at their own 20.
McNeil and Lockbaum also in the stop that time. Glassboro gave up an awful lot of yards early in the football game, but defensively they've really begun to get it together over the last 2 quarters.
Bateman, Stewart, Mazio, Joyce, and Lester played very, very well up front for the Bulldogs. Mitchell tries a quick hitter, and Lockbaum is there, along with McNeil, and they'll make the stop, and they'll get a couple of yards on that carry.
That's what you want to do with Mitchell. Get him early. Don't let him get into the secondary and give him an opportunity to get that second step to daylight, because despite the fine speed that Glassboro has, nobody is going to catch Mitchell if he gets into the clear.
3rd down, 7 yards to go now for Edgewood. First chance to touch the football here in the second half. An awful lot of coaches will tell you that the first series in the second half is the most important one in the ball game. Murphy, with pressure, gets the ball across the middle. This one's going to be picked off. Outstanding play by Blaine Capano, looking for yardage and has big yardage down the left side. Blaine Capano at the defensive halfback position. Bob played that one perfectly. Saw it all the way, stepped up in front, took the interception, and the Bulldogs in great shape. 2nd interception thrown tonight by Murphy.
Kind of played that one like a center fielder, played it very well, and Murphy with another very bad mistake. Really had no business throwing that football in that situation. And Glassboro in an excellent position now to take a 2-touchdown lead.
Starting from the Edgewood 12-yard line. We'll try to avoid any mistakes down here. Big Lockbaum back to the left halfback position. He'll get the ball and try to go to the right side, but excellent penetration made that time, and the stop made by Johnson, number 77. Boy, that's a big play for Edgewood defensively. Will move Glassboro back to the 15-yard line.
205-pounder, excuse me, Mike, 205-pounder with great speed, really beating the block that time. When you can catch Lockbaum in the backfield, you've really made a penetration.
You want to pick a play here? What's the chance of Adams coming back across the middle?
It's worked every time. Edgewood has not been able to handle that play. This might be the spot.
Now they're going to go straight ahead, and why not with Redmond? What an explosion that time. And Sean Redmond has the 15-yard touchdown run, and whew, did he get out of the starting block.
I never saw anybody get into the end zone from the 16-yard line as quickly as he did. That was some run by Redmond. 20-8. Glassboro with the lead, and an injured Edgewood player down on the field. They have the number of the young man.
Redmond Bob on that play not only picks up the 6 points, but crosses the 100-yard mark. And at this point now in the ball game, 106 yards rushing for Sean Redmond. What a way to start the season.
Well, Redmond and Lockbaum are going to, I would guess, Mike, have a lot of football games this year when both of them hit 100 yards rushing. That's very unusual for a high school team to have two that can hit 100 yards. Redmond's done it, and Lockbaum probably will get there tonight.
And the big player, Perry Johnson, who's done such an outstanding job all night long, is going to be helped off the field by his teammates, and that generally means at least a serious-looking leg injury, and they can't afford to lose that fine junior. 6 foot, 205 pounds, and he's been strong all night long.
They're lining up for a kick, Mike, but I'm not convinced they're going to kick it. They need 2 points. They don't need one. 12-point lead.
Lockbaum is holding. Remember, on their first touchdown, he just stood up from that position and looked to throw the ball for 2 points. But this time, Frank's going to get the ball up on the kick, and he will get it. Glassboro now with the 21-8 lead.
What a surprise. That gives them a 13-point lead, but now Edgewood, if it scores twice and gets 1 2-point conversion, could still pull the game out. Nonetheless, 21-8 lead for Glassboro. We're going to take this break from Glassboro State College, where the Bulldogs are leading Edgewood 21-8.
And it's 1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock shop, 5, 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock shop, 9, 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock shop. You can shop around the clock, all right, with your ATM, mini market. Drive right up in Forest Market and shop around the clock, all right. We're open morning, noon, and night. You can shop around the clock all day.
This month today in PM Mini Market, 32 ounces, 39 cents. And Taquito burritos, 79 cents.
Edgewood made a mistake, and Blaine Capano came up strong with the interception, took Glassboro down to around the 10-yard line, and following a loss, what a run by Sean Redmond, 16-yard touchdown, his second one of the night, and Glassboro leads 21-8. Mike Linder along with Bob Shryock here at Glassboro State College, our first ball game of the year. Lee Frank ready to kick for Glassboro. And waiting deep, Eric Hill and Dennis Mitchell for Edgewood. Frank's best kick of the night, it will be Hill from his own 16-yard line. Looking for an opening. He has great speed. He turns upfield, and Lockbaum Bob turns it on right there and drives him out of bounds. There for an instant looked like he was going to clear, but surprise, surprise, Lockbaum has that speed.
It's funny, Mike. I watched Lockbaum on that play because I saw him line up, and he does not come off the football field. He plays every play for 48 minutes. Usually your star doesn't go down under the kickoffs, but he is the layback man on that play, Mike. He stayed back on that play in event one of the speedsters from Edgewood broke it. And, in fact, he was the man that came up with the tackle.
From their own 32-yard line now, we'll see if Burpee stays with the running game or wants to attack early and try and get back in this ball game. Oh, what a tackle time as Mitchell looked to have it, and Ramadine Dink.
Hello, Dink McNeil. What a hit. Unbelievable hit by Ramadine Dink McNeil, the 225-pound senior co-captain for the Bulldogs. That was the defensive play of the ball game.
Well, Mitchell got 1 yard, but he had to pay dearly for that one. He'll remember Ramadine for a long time after that hit. Perfect form. That's the kind you put in the training film. Second down, 9 yards to go now. Burpee has them in a high formation and has thrown from that formation most of the time. Looks across again. It's going to be over the head of Keith Gloucester, the end who connected with Burpee for that 48-yard touchdown early in the ball game to give Edgewood the early lead.
That's a tough situation now offensively for Edgewood, Mike, down by 2 touchdowns to an explosive football team. A sophomore quarterback, remember Edgewood going without its veteran running back Keith Bullock. This is going to force Burpee to throw the football, and obviously he is prone to some sophomore mistakes since that first touchdown pass, and Glassboro is going to be looking for the long one.
Draft will split to the right side. He'll be in the slot as they bring Gloucester over there now as a split end. Dropping deep, looking like screen. It's going to be the screen pass thrown out to Chambers. Chambers has good running room and gets up and enough yardage for the first down as he approaches the Edgewood 45. They'll mark it at the 44. Well-conceived play that time.
Yeah, absolutely textbook. And that time, Burpee showed great cool, made a fine screen pass, and Edgewood got just what it needed. It needs to get some offensive momentum back. That play might do it. It's a fine offensive football team. They're not out of this.
Edgewood, of course, running an awful lot more players in and out off the field, more than Glassboro. Glassboro, the small Group 1 school, going essentially with the same 11 to 15 players, and only the fact that it's a cool night has helped them. Eric Hill, and Hill disappointed with his run, even though he picks up 5 yards. Imagine, Bob, if we had the hot weather that we suffered over the last 3 or 4 weeks, and Glassboro had to go out there tonight with just 14, 15 players. They caught a real break with the weather.
Gorgeous night. Supposed to get down into the 40s today. We're really into football season.
Second down, 5 yards to go now for Burpee. Sets his team in a wing T formation. Pitches. Chambers. Good tackle made coming from the secondary. Tackle made by Mark Geip. Geip having his name called for the first time tonight, but Chambers has enough for the first down. Edgewood gets into Glassboro territory. It's now at the Bulldog 45.
Edgewood football team showing some character on this drive. Is stung by the interception, which gave Glassboro the 2-touchdown lead. Now the offense back in gear into Glassboro territory, moving well behind the sophomore quarterback. They need a sustained drive and a touchdown to get back in it.
An important drive for that, and that would really change the complexion of this game if they're able to score on this possession. Turn going to fullback. We haven't seen him run the ball for a while. Kevin Bullock, who was the workhorse in the first half, gets his first call here in the second 24 minutes and picks up 4 yards. Second down, 6 yards to go with the ball at the Glassboro 41-yard line. Bullock now has carried the ball 10 times and been held to just 29 yards on the ground. Gloucester splitting far to the right side. They'll bring Kraft to the left side as the flanker. They'll open the backs behind Burpee. Burpee going with the soft, easy pass to Chambers, covered well by Lockbaum as Chambers is unable to hold on. It's now third down.
Good thing that ball wasn't tipped about 2 more feet in the direction of Dick McNeil. There was no one in front of him. He could have gone 60 yards for a touchdown.
And he would have loved every minute of it. Tackle offensively, getting the chance to move to the linebacking spot on defense. And he still thinks like a lineman, and they don't get many chances to score 6.
Glassboro will be looking for the pass here with a 3rd down and 6 situation.
Burpee will set Gloucester and Draft, the 2 wide receivers to the same side this time. They're lined up to the left. Burpee drops deep with pressure, and he's down as Lester is there quickly. That's that sophomore coming up strong again, and it's going to be a 14-yard loss as Lester comes up with the sack.
Rather profound statement about Timmy Lester on the information sheet John Avini gave us before the game, Mike. It simply says, just a matter of time before Tim Lester becomes one of the best around.
That kind of play really contributing to the confidence necessary for a sophomore to play well. He'll remember that one, and he's going to feel much more aggressive after that play. That'll do it for 3/4 of action. Glassboro looks like they're in great shape. They're leading 21-8. We'll be back with more following these messages.
In these difficult times, some people will do anything for a buck.
I want him.
He's not for sale.
Daddy said anything I wanted, anything in the store. Wrap him up.
Jack Brown is about to go too far.
What do you need?
Well, let's start at 1,000. We'll work our way up from there.
1,000 is highway robbery.
2,000.
For that kind of money, if Eric blows his nose, you wipe it.
Oh! $3,000.
That's a deal.
The toy.
I only have the boy for 1 week a year.
Well, you ought to get better lawyers. You shouldn't have to have him that long.
He turned their house into a home.
Pretend I'm Eric. Say, I love you.
I love you. I love you!
You laughed.
And their home into a battlefield. Richard Pryor, Jackie Gleason, the toy.
Fourth quarter action from Glassboro State College. Glassboro leading Edgewood 21-8. There's the punt from Reagan, and it will be taken down by Lockbaum at the Glassboro 23-yard line. Mike Linder with Bob Schreier. Bob, a lot of great football coming up this year on Channel 5. We've got more college football, but primarily we'll be covering most of the high schools here in Gloucester County, and there's some good ones this year.
We'll be seeing Paulsboro High School again. Of course, we've been watching Paulsboro regularly win sectional Group 1 championships on Channel 5 the last 4 seasons. They've won 3 of them. Paulsboro should have another fine football team.
With the lead now, let's see if Glassboro just stays on the ground. Great success there all night long. Tremendous running from Redmond and Lockbaum. Sean again tries the right side, and boy, he's just moving along close to another first down. Has at least 9 yards on this carry.
It's got to put a lot of pressure on your defense, doesn't it, Mike, to not know which one of them is coming?
Well, you don't know which way to load up. Generally, you can take a look on tendency sheets and say, well, Lockbaum is going to run the ball 15 times, Redmond 7. But that's not the case with this team. Redmond's had it 15 times, Lockbaum 12. So you don't know if they're going to come left or right. And it just means that you're going to have to sit there and read what happens. Tough way to play. Back the other way on the counterplay to Lockbaum. It's his turn to run, and he picks up 6 yards. He has another first down for Glassboro, and we'll start working on that clock now as we are into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, a long drive now could be very damaging to Edgewood's hopes to win this ball game. Very rare if you see either Lockbaum or Redmond not gain at least 5 yards in a play. They are something. And, of course, credit to great blocking, too. They're not doing it without outstanding support from the offensive line of Glassboro High School. That's a great group.
And when they've needed it, they've come back across the middle on the counter with Adams, and he has not disappointed them at all tonight. They've got balance all the way. We've got a foul here. Looks like an illegal procedure. Adams appeared to jump on the right side, and the play will be blown dead ball foul. Well, not an easy week next week for Glassboro, Bob. They're not out of the woods yet tonight, but they've got a toughie next week going up against Williamstown, and that's going to be an outstanding team. I think this might be the year of the Braves.
Well, the Williamstown team is here, I think, about in mass tonight, too, Mike. I don't know whether you noticed them at halftime, but they all have the Indian haircuts. Of course, the Williamstown Braves, and they really look primed for a good season. Fine job by Jim Rennie-Allo and his staff at Williamstown High School, and that could be one of the surprise teams in Gloucester County this year.
And Edgewood not with an easy win going against Pensauken next week, and there's a man in the stands tonight that has had great success there.
Vince McEnany, head coach at Pensauken High School. That's quite a division.
They move him back 5 yards. It's 1st and 15. Ball now placed at the 35-yard line. Lockbaum again has the counter play and finds a huge hole, and Gordon's out for another first down. He'll get 16 yards on that carry.
Davis on the stop for Edgewood. Close to a first down.
And he's quickly approaching the 100-yard mark.
94, only 6 more to go for Lockbaum, that in which case Glassboro would have both of its fine backs over 100.
209 yards between them so far tonight, Redmond and Lockbaum. 252 yards on the ground so far tonight. And you throw in Adams' yardage. 1st and 10 from midfield. Long count by Frank. He'll toss it to Redmond. He'll have his guard, Castillo, out in front of him, and he just motors ahead, puts that shoulder down, and picks up 6 more yards.
Game plan has been clear from the outset, Mike. They're running to the left side of the Edgewood line all night long. They're running completely away from Principato's side on the right, and 85-90% of the Glassboro plays are going in that direction.
Well, we've watched Glassboro a lot of years now, and ever since Avini took over, they put in that wing tee, and they pull those guards, and they come right at the ends and try to kick them out, and it looks like it's going to be no different this year. Castillo and Mazzio, so important, doing a fine job out of the guard spots. Here comes the reversed Adams. Not much doing that time. Position held very, very well. by Vince Principato, the man you just mentioned, Bob, and he came up strong on that play. It'd be a loss of a yard for Adams.
An interesting call for Gianavini. His passing game has not been working tonight, but here's a passing down, a 3rd and 6 situation. He wants to keep the football. He wants to keep running the clock down. But his bread and butter game is on the ground. Interesting call.
Steve Bateman, number 80, has replaced Tim Lester in the ball game. He carried the play in from Avini. They need 6 for the first down. Again, Lockbaum on the inside. Look at that hole. Look at that move. He's got a chance at the end zone. Only the speed of Dennis Mitchell is going to keep him from getting there. Lockbaum had the great hole at the outset, Bob, but most of it with the big yardage done by him.
I think he just went over 100, didn't he, Mike?
Yes, no problem at all.
I think what you saw, the example of clearly there with Lockbaum is his open field ability. He does not have blazing speed, but he has that quickness of foot that Gianavini likes to talk about that enables him to get the step on the defensive back. He made a great deke there and turned it into a big gainer, nearly a touchdown.
He got 39 yards, giving him 133 on the night. First and goal now. Lockbaum moves to the slot formation on the left side. He'll come back in motion. They'll go with Redmond. Redmond looks for the end zone. He's got it for the 3rd time tonight. 7-yard touchdown run for Sean Redmond. Not a bad drive that time, Bob. 76 yards into the end zone, and Glassboro clearly in control right now.
Well, they're beating a good football team. Edgewood, no fluky opponent by any stretch of the imagination. Glassboro, this was an absolutely awesome ground game. No question about it. Their lead 27-8. Redmond and Lockbaum. Redmond with 3 touchdowns. He had 15 as a sophomore last year.
Frank to attempt the extra point. We've got a flag. Offsides against Glassboro. Somebody lined up on the wrong position. That'll cost them 5. Let's see if Avini thinks Frank can kick it that long. Lee, with the confidence, shakes the hand at Avini and says, "Let me try." Avini talking now to assistant coach Tucker, and he says, "Oh, come on, let's let him try it. We may get in a field goal situation in one game, and if Lee could make this one, it'll give him the confidence then to try it." So up 27-8. I think the game's safe. We'll give it a try. Ball's going to be placed by Lockbaum on the 15-yard line. Frank has the distance and has the upright split. That will give them the 28th point. Glassboro 28, Edgewood 8, and Bob, somewhat surprising to me. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I would have picked Glassboro to win the football game. I would not have picked them to be 3 touchdowns around ahead at this juncture. I would have thought that he would go right down to the end, 2 high-powered offenses going at each other, but the Glassboro ground game has simply been too much for Edgewood.
Some interesting fans here tonight, particularly this one, Bob, that we had saw earlier in the game. He's been wearing the jacket most of the night, but opens it up now, and no explanation needed for that one. And he's got to be a very, very proud gentleman tonight.
Yeah. A lot of people proud of Gordon. Gordon with a big night, setting up that touchdown. Sean Redmond scoring it, his 3rd TD of the night. Both of them well over 100 yards for the game.
You know, the other thing that makes Lockbaum such a recruit that people are interested in, he's a tremendous academic person, really way up there in class rank, and a very, very intelligent young man.
We honored him at the Touchdown Club of Southern New Jersey last year. Very articulate young man, too.
Lee Frank to kick. Edgewood has to score quickly and has to score quite a few. Eric Hill. That's going to get much, as again the special teams led by Milton Ferrara come up strong for Glassboro. Edgewood's going to start from their own 32-yard line.
And again, they kicked it away successfully from Dennis Mitchell. They don't want to give Mitchell an opportunity to break one and get Edgewood right back in the ballgame.
Edgewood able to start in Glassboro territory only on one drive tonight, and that was from the Glassboro 49-yard line. Good field position for the Bulldogs all night long.
Well, Greg Waller probably has to ask the sophomore to put the ball in the air now, Mike. Glassboro certainly should be looking for it.
Only 3 for 11, and this will be a tough way to throw with the Glassboro team anticipating pass. Burpee drops deep, wants to throw it's going to be picked off by Lester, the sophomore. Read that one perfectly. Mitchell was there, but Lester played the pass defense perfectly where he drops off and gets into the coverage.
He played it as good as you could make the play. Then he simply grabbed the ball away from the intended receiver. We talked about Lester being called by Avini potentially one of the best around. He made a big league play there, and Glassboro now with a chance to break it wide open, setting this drive up from the Edgewood 18-yard line.
Third interception thrown by the sophomore Burpee tonight, and they're going to have to go back to the drawing board with their pass offense before they face Pennsauken next week. Glassboro, their first game in the Patriot Division of the Olympic Conference, the new division this year. Straight ahead, and not much doing that time. Bullock comes in and leads the charge of Edgewood. Redmond, however, will get on forward progress. 2 yards credited to him. It'll be second down and 8.
About 2 on the play.
Burpee off to an auspicious start with that long touchdown pass to Gloucester on his first pass as a varsity player, Mike, but he has had a difficult time since then.
Rockbaum, Redmond, and Adams, still the running backs for Lee Frank. Adams looking to beat Bullock to the outside. He'll do that, but he can't get out of the grasp of Draft, who comes up from the cornerback spot. And Adams is going to be held to no gain. It will be a third down and 7 yards to go.
Edgewood digging in defensively. They've been tested all night long by this superb Glassboro offense, doing a nice job on this series.
Well, the best thing could happen for Avini and the Bulldogs here would be Frank to drop deep and throw a completion and maybe get a touchdown out of it. And the kind of night he's had, that might help him with the confidence that he has to have to lead this team. Going to go with Lockbaum on the counter to the inside. They close it down this time, and Glassboro will face a 4th down from the 14-yard line, and they'll be shy of the first down by 5. Lockbaum picks up 2 more yards.
Lee Frank wants to kick a field goal, Mike. He's moving his foot for John Avini to see. He has confidence, as you indicated he probably would, by kicking the 25-yard extra point after the penalty, but they're not going to go for 3 here.
We'll call it 4th down and 5. Place the ball at the Edgewood 14-yard line. Frank keeps the wing T formation with the 2 tight ends. Adams on the flank. Reverse coming up to Adams. He tries to get out of the grasp of the Edgewood defender, Henry Robinson, but he can't do it. Edgewood holds here and takes over at the Glassboro 14-yard line.
I give Edgewood a little bit of credit. Down 28-8, they give up the interception. Glassboro with a chance to go in for the clincher, but a fine defensive series there. And again, I'm talking about him all night long, but Tony Robinson, really a textbook tackler. He really makes that open field play as well as anybody will see.
This time, Glassboro just takes 4 defensive backs and lines them up downfield, 15 yards, string them out across. Now they make some adjustments to the flankers that move for Edgewood. From the shotgun, Keith Reagan gets the chance to throw. He puts the ball up long, looking for Mitchell, but excellent defensive play. I'll check it, that intended receiver, Gloucester, where they had him picked out, but where's Keith Reagan been besides punting? He can really put the ball up in the air.
Of course, he's the great baseball pitcher, and see what kind of an arm he's got there on that play.
Second down, 10 yards to go. No secret to what Edgewood's doing here. That's going to be interesting time for the secondary in Glassboro. Blaine Capano with the big interception of the night that led to the touchdown that may have just broken Edgewood's back. Blaine will get some stars for that play. This time Reagan again moves to the shotgun formation. Mazio really putting on the pressure. Across the middle, Lockbaum has it. Lockbaum intercepts. Gloucester takes him down, but it was the pressure of Joe Mazio. Bob, how does that young man penetrate so easily? He doesn't have the great size, but he just has an instinct for when to make the move. Gordon Lockbaum getting the 4th interception for Glassboro tonight, and the Bulldogs back in business at the Edgewood 22.
Big ball game for Mazio. I mentioned before that Davini said he's his fastest lineman. He got the penetration. Statistically, it'll show that Lockbaum got the interception, but a big assist to Mazio in that play. Glassboro with another chance for the clincher.
28-8 lead for Glassboro here in the 4th quarter. Frank's going to throw. Gets it across to Redmond, who's unable to get the ball at the Edgewood 19. Good pressure that time in the defensive line of Edgewood.
Kevin Bullock has played a fine defensive game, has penetrated well all night long. Good pressure on Frank again.
Testimony to the fine running game at Glassboro. Here they are leading 28-8 in the 4th quarter, Bob, and the quarterback is only 2 for 10 on the night.
Yeah, I think Avini is trying to give Frank a chance to complete 1 or 2 and regain his confidence throwing the football.
A lot of scouts here watching them, and I'll tell you what, if they haven't seen Frank in the past, they're going to make a mistake if they go back and tell them, let's not worry about the passing game, because this young man is far better than what his stats show tonight. Adams picking up 5 yards. Let's give him 6 on the play.
He's had a big night. Unfortunately for Pat Adams, he's playing on a football team where he's not going to get a whole lot of headlines because of the presence of Redmond and Lockbaum in the backfield, but he is a great player.
He's carried the ball 10 times for 48 yards tonight, 4.8 yards a carry. Not bad for the 3rd runner in your backfield. 3rd down, 4 yards to go. Frank just dragged down and thrown to the ground on an excellent penetration by Whitney Durham, number 78 for Edgewood, and Lee Frank will lose the yardage that Adams got. And they'll move the ball back to a 4th down and 11 from the Glassboro 23-yard line.
I don't believe anybody blocked Whitney Durham.
Now Edgewood will look for pass. That's all Glassboro's done the last 2 times the Eagles have had the ball, and this time it's the Eagles' turn to look for the pass. Here comes Adams. Double fake. Wants to set the screen. Adams has it. Good blocking in front of him. He gets down to the Edgewood 10-yard line and looks as if he has enough for a 1st down and will keep this Bulldog drive alive.
He got that with some great second effort, too. He is a gifted runner. Very dangerous back.
So on the line, we have heard from Mazio and Gastillo tonight. They're the ones, at least, whose names we've called. There's been a great job done by Stewart playing center for the first time this year, and Joyce and McNeil at the tackles have been blocking down beautifully. The ones that will get the headlines are those pulling guards that throw the key block. But in the backfield, we knew about Redmond and Lockbaum, but Adams certainly looking good. Excellent blocking on the outside. Lockbaum just high-stepping his way down near the end zone and is close to another Glassboro 1st down. And Gordon Lockbaum now, Bob, 145 yards on the night in 17 carries, and that goes with Redmond's 18 carries. There's balance in itself, but Sean with 130 yards. 275 yards between 2 ball carriers in the opening game of the year.
Heck of a thing when you've gained 130 yards and you're only the 2nd best rusher on your football team in that game.
And against a good ball club, one expected to make an awful lot of noise in the Olympic American division this season. 2nd down, he's about a yard shy of the 1st down, so they'll be looking for that. But I think more importantly, they want a touchdown, and they want Lockbaum to crawl in and get it, and he does. So Gordon Lockbaum now takes the score to Glassboro 34 and Edgewood 8 as he picks up a couple of more yards and a touchdown.
That's 5 touchdowns for Glassboro and 5 between Redmond and Lockbaum. 3 for Lockbaum, or 3 for Redmond, 2 for Lockbaum. They had 29 between them last year. Quite a start this year. 5 between them in the first ball game.
Bad.
The touchdown twins.
Well, they chased Willie Anderson last year, as we mentioned in the first half, and they came up 2nd and 3rd to Anderson's winning of that title. Of course, Anderson gone to UCLA, so maybe they'll be the touchdown twins this year. Frank's kick is up high enough, but off to the left side, so the score will remain Glassboro 34, Edgewood 8. We'll be back with more right after these messages.
October features a fall football festival on ESPN. Notre Dame, Clemson, UCLA, and your CFL favorites north of the border set the season in full swing. And make way for the NBA. The world champion Philadelphia 76ers tip off the greatest basketball schedule ever at the Hall of Fame game live. October showcases more boxing headliners on Saturday night at the fights. And there's Auto Racing 83 action when ESPN puts the pedal to the metal. We're gearing up for NASCAR's American 500, Karts Laguna Seca 300, and the Syracuse Super Nationals. The fall sports feast continues with knockout top-ranked boxing and the kicks of PKA Karate. Inside Baseball begins the World Series, and the NFL Game of the Week runs up the score. Back at the track, October offers NASCAR's Holly Farms 400, plus the award-winning Cross Racing Weekly. This week in the NBA and Inside Football...
Woodbury, Woodbury Heights, Anchorage, National Park, Deptford, Paulsboro, Gibbstown, West Deptford, Glassboro, Franklinville, Mickleton, Pittman, and Sewell. 16 locations in 13 communities. The National Bank and Trust Company of Gloucester County. For your convenience.
Big night for the Glassboro Bulldogs. A surprising 34-8 score here in the fourth quarter, and they have just dominated all night long, primarily with the fine running of Sean Redmond and Gordon Lockbaum. Lee Frank again to kick off, and Edgewood would love to turn one of the speedsters loose on this, but it's not going to happen. It's going to be short. I don't think by design, but Glassboro almost got the football again, but it's going to be covered on the far side by Ray Gattone, number 20 for Edgewood.
It was almost a great short kick that was, I'm sure, not deliberate.
So Edgewood will have it at their own 49-yard line, 1st and 10, and have to be running out of time. In fact, I think they've run out of time. Still some time left, but they're not going to get back in this ball game. Burpee remains as the quarterback for Greg Waters' Eagles, and Greg's going to be the most disappointed man here tonight. A fumble, and let's see if Glassboro gets it. That's what all the players are giving as a signal. See what George Reeves, the referee, says. Yes, he does. The Bulldogs have it. So the bad time for Mike Burpee continues. He's thrown 4 interceptions that have given the ball to Glassboro, and now comes up with the fumble. The ball turns over again. What a night for that sophomore. Started off so great, but that's going to do it for the ball game. Glassboro picking up the big win here in the opener. Glassboro 34, Edgewood 8. We'll be back with some final words following these messages.
Graduating, anticipating, so many places I could go, but it feels so good to be guarding the things so close to home.
Right now you can graduate to the Army National Guard near home, guarding your country, state, and neighbors, and guarding your future with extra pay and new skills, and all for 2 days a month plus 2 weeks annual training.
The Guard is America at its best.
Call your Army Guard recruiter.
A happy Glassboro squad, a happy head coach John Avini. Bob, we came into tonight's ball game expecting an offensive explosion, and we got it, but we got it from one team. What a night for Glassboro. Rushing is the key. It was anticipated. Sean Redmond, the junior fullback, Gordon Lockbaum, the senior halfback, and throw in Pat Adams, who did such a fine job, and they finished the game only with 325 yards rushing, 147 of them to Lockbaum, 130 to Redmond, and 48 to Pat Adams. This is a team to be reckoned with, not only in the Patriot division of the Olympic, but this is a team that's going to be up there high in the rankings of all the teams in South Jersey.
Sometimes, Mike, you give a team a big build-up, individuals a big build-up, and it just doesn't materialize. But I think we see evidence tonight against a very good Edgewood football team of the capabilities of Gordon Lockbaum and Sean Redmond. We keep calling their names. Of course, I can't do it without the great blocking, but they are two unusually gifted young men, Mike, and you just have to wonder if they can stay healthy, what kind of devastation they can rattle in their opponents this year in South Jersey. A great game, too, by Pat Adams, as you indicated, and they did all of this with Lee Frank having an off night.
It was not a good night for Lee Frank, only 3 completions on 11 tosses, but as we mentioned during the fourth quarter, any scouts who came tonight and go back and say, forget the passing game, they're going to be really sorry that they write that down in their books, because we know Lee Frank is an excellent quarterback, and this is going to probably be the worst game he has all year long. At least I'm ready to go out on a limb and say that I believe that. And with that, the 2 great runners, the change-up coming back with Adams from the outside, and then you throw in the good passing of Lee Frank, and offensively, this is a great club. Mazzio and Castillo, fine job from the guard positions tonight. Stewart moving in the center. Could not have faulted his performance at all the first time he's played there. And McNeil and Joyce at tackles. This is an outstanding ball club. Very, very strong.
Yeah, I think the other thing you have to realize, Mike, we've talked about the size of Glassboro High School, too. They are the smallest school in their division of the Olympic Conference, whereas Edgewood is the largest school in the Middle Division Olympic Conference. Edgewood given a chance by many people to win that strong division. It includes Deptford, Pensacola, Woodrow Wilson, Overbrook, just some great schools, and yet they are blown out by 4 touchdowns by the smallest school in the smallest division in the Olympic. What does that say about the potential of this Glassboro team?
Well, one thing it points out is what is demonstrated tonight. This Glassboro team is an outstanding ball club and a great way to begin for Glassboro this season. They're 1-0 by virtue of this 34-8 victory over Edgewood. Now for Stewart Communication, Channel 5, and Bob Shryock, I'm Mike Linder. Thanks for joining us tonight. We'll be looking for you next time.